Sammy Zooks are ramping the CPL semi-final 2 against the Amazon Warriors. The Warriors now 32 for 5 in over number what?
9.
Over number 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keema Paul just dismissed by Roston Chase, caught in the deep by, was it Keswick Williams who completed the catch?
Yes,
it may have been so. All right, so Keema Paul walks back and the Amazon Warriors are up against it. The West Indies women are set to play 5 T20 internationals against hosts England from September 21 to 30. Speaking ahead of the series, opener Hayley Matthews was asked about playing cricket during a pandemic.
It's very exciting to be down here. We've obviously been on break for a while now, so just to be able to get going again is obviously very exciting. It's also a very historic tour. It's going to be the first women's tour back since the pandemic. So we're just hoping that with the start of this tour, we can get a lot of the other boards looking on and seeing that cricket at this point is feasible and just get some more cricket going around the world.
Yep, Matthews believes the fact the series will be played in a bubble will allow the players to focus.
From the first day we came here, we knew what the protocols were. We were told and given everything we needed, so it was just a matter of coming down here and getting into the training and stuff. I think is actually a bit helpful, kind of limits distractions, and you kind of just get to focus on the cricket a bit more. So I think the nets and everything have been going pretty well so far. Everyone seems to have been working really hard when we were back home, and just in nick and ready for the first game.
Matthews spoke about the return of Deandra Dottin and the absence of Anisa Mohammed.
Obviously with Deandra, she's a huge player in our team. She's one of the best in the world, and I think she's definitely going to add a lot of value to the team, batting, bowling, and fielding wise. So yeah, and then in terms of Anisa, it's unfortunate that she wasn't able to be here. Like I said, she's one of our most experienced bowlers as well. Definitely been playing the game for a lot of years now. But yeah, I think it's just a case, we have a lot of bowlers in our side, and I have no doubt that we have enough skill and enough talent to be able to go out there and execute really well and be able to restrict the England batters when the games do start.
The 22-year-old Barbadian spoke about the planning the Windies have made for this series.
I think it's really going to be a case of just playing good cricket overall. We're definitely going to have to look at their squad when it's released and, see what kind of players they're looking to come at us with and, be able to plan and, I guess, go out there and execute good skills against them. And, it's always going to be a tough series when we play England at home. But I think we have the talent and the skill in the dressing room. And like I said, everyone's hungry and really wanting to get out there and prove everyone wrong about, I guess, how we did at the World Cup in March.
Yeah, so Lance, I don't want to be, I've tried to be moderate when I'm talking about the West Indies women, because what I find is that, even though I've always been one about equality. I find it hard to say that, in this age of equality, because I've always been there. But I want to be a little less strong. Maybe that's not the right descriptor. I don't want to be sounding as aggressive about the criticism of the women as I would the men. I just talk about the men however it is. But with the women, I find myself wanting to be kinder. There you go, George. Right. So the thing is this. The women seem to have hit a brick wall for some time now, and they're not going over it. Yes, with Deandra Dottin, the team is much better. But I find that even our illustrious captain, who is without doubt one of the best women cricketers in the world and has been so since she rose to the international level, even her performances have dragged a little in recent time. And when I look at a player like Hayley Matthews, who announced herself with such quality and seemed set to rise to be one of the preeminent cricketers in women's cricket, I don't think she has improved. And I think that when you have a player with the undoubted talent of Hayley Matthews not contributing at her optimum, and when you have a player like Stefanie Taylor who is being affected by the lack of quality around her. And when you have a player like Deandra Dottin who struggles to stay fit to be in the unit, this West Indies women's team, weak.
Yeah, they are very weak at the moment. And you're making a good point, George, because the nucleus of the team is the same almost as the one that won the World T20 title back in 2016. There are many players who are still a part of the setup. So there is an issue here of them carrying on. The key point you have made is that the three genuinely world-class players in the West Indies women's team, Stefanie Taylor, the captain, Deandra Dottin, and Hayley Matthews, for one reason or another, they've never been as a trio in the past 3 years or so performing, at their optimum. Deandra Dottin was out with a shoulder injury for more than a year. I hear, Hayley Matthews responding to her being back and how they welcome her back and so on. But she was back early this year. She played in the World T20, and in the 3 or 4 innings she played single-digit scores, and because of her shoulder problem, she didn't bowl at all. And Deandra Dottin is a match winner with both bat and ball. But because she is coming off the injury, she clearly now cannot deliver in the all-round manner that she had in the past. Stefanie Taylor is one of the best women's cricketer I have ever seen. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But as a leader, she's not aggressive. She's not a Kyron Pollard who has that aggression and in-your-face kind of captaincy. And because she doesn't have Deandra Dottin, or hasn't had Deandra Dottin with her, and Hayley Matthews has stagnated, as you've mentioned her, she has not really carried on.
But question for you. If it is you say that Stefanie Taylor hasn't been aggressive, here's the thing. If she assesses that those around her are fragile of confidence, then she'll not be aggressive towards them. She'll not try to force the envelope with these players, because she recognizes that these players are I don't want to say are of weak character, but substantively, these cricketers aren't of the kind where you can light a fire under them for them to lift themselves. These players, you have to have an arm around the shoulder at all times.
I hear you, George, but when I use the word aggression just now, I didn't mean necessarily with regarding how she deals with her players. I'll give you a case in point. I've seen several matches where the West Indies batted first, and the opposing team made a target that we consider to be gettable or the West Indies batted first, I should say. West Indies bat first, their target is not that strong. And the bowlers are used. Stefanie Taylor is in charge of using her bowlers, and she'll have 4 or 5 bowlers bowling before she bowls. And I think she's probably the best bowler on the team. But that aggression that she has to say, I have to take this job into my hands, and and then she will bowl 4th or 5th, and with her bowling, the West Indies get a chance to get back into the match, and it leaves you wondering, why didn't she take the ball earlier? So when I use the word aggression, I'm not necessarily talking about how she deals with the players that she is managing. It's also about how she reads the game and how she strategizes.
But you just said something just now, because even it doesn't matter where she bowls, there's weakness around her. That's a point. So even if she,
George, all right, let me complete the point to negate what you're saying. Often when that happens, she doesn't even bowl out her overs. I've seen that happen many times. She doesn't bowl out her quota of overs, and she ends up being the most dominant bowler and leaves you hanging. So I'm saying I agree with you that she needs players around her that are performing to a level that she can have confidence in them. But I believe that she's such a talented cricketer. I think there are times if she's more aggressive and she takes the bull by the horns with her personal performances, because she definitely does that with the bat. But with the ball, I think she can do sometimes a lot more with the ball than she gives herself.
I feel for Stefanie, because, and it's not unreasonable what you say, but she's being expected to do everything at all times. Look, I look at the stats of some of the ladies that have made the West Indies team, and I wonder how the devil did they get there? And then I remember, but these are the best of what we have. The record of some of the women that we have, not compelling at all. And overall, I think we have, since the World Cup win, I don't think we have gone forward. In fact, I think we have gone backwards with the women's team.
The numbers support what you're saying, George.
Yeah.
The West Indies won just one of their matches in the T20 World Cup back in February and March. They lost, I think, to Pakistan and England. They beat Thailand, and their match against South Africa was a no result. But before that, they had an ODI series right here in the Caribbean where they narrowly won the first match against the Indians, I think by 1 run. It was a very, very tense finish. And then the Indians won the next 2 matches and took the series 2-1. So this West Indies women's team, they haven't had success for years now. And I don't think they are performing to the level that they can. And I think you are right about Hayley Matthews, a player that was so impressive at the World Cup that the teams in the Big Bash wanted her to play. I know she got an injury. I think it was a knee injury that sort of hamstrung her for a bit. But I think Hayley Matthews has a lot more to offer than she is delivering at the moment. And I'm hoping that in this England series, the Hayley Matthews that we know can stand up.
If it is that we are to, as we have in the past, use the World Cup win as evidence of the progress of women's cricket and the quality of women's cricket, what about what has happened post that World Cup win? We have been callow, we have been weak, and it is that I'm not criticizing the ladies themselves. I'm saying that us here in this part of the world, we have perhaps not done well enough to support these ladies, to assist them to find a base of performance that is at least competitive. And I say it that way because there have been several games West Indies women have played where we haven't been competitive, and that's an indictment on a professional. If you're a professional, even if your opponent is better than you, you must at least give your opponent a game. And there have been several games I've watched where the West Indies have been outclassed, and I'm wondering, how does a team good enough to win a World Cup and good enough to give so many big sides a proper game before all of that, how is it that we are so callow and craven in this time? Anyway, break time. Back with more.